The whistle blew, sharp as a gunshot, and the entire stadium erupted in chaos as Justin collapsed mid-sprint, his body twisting unnaturally on the rain-soaked track like a puppet with its strings severed. I froze in the stands, my heart slamming against my ribs, because I'd seen that look in his eyes just hours before. A flicker of desperation that no one else noticed. "Carson," he gasped into the mic that wasn't even on, his voice carrying only to me through the downpour. "You promised we'd win clean. That promise? It was the thread holding our fragile world together. The one Carson and I had whispered about in stolen moments under the bleachers, back when love felt like the only conspiracy worth risking everything for." But as medics swarmed the field and the crowd's cheers turned to horrified murmurs, I knew the truth we'd buried was clawing its way out, and it was going to drag us all under. I'm Alex Rivera, 22, a junior coordinator for the annual Buckeye High Sports Meet in Columbus, Ohio. The kind of event that turns a sleepy suburb into a frenzy of school spirit, corporate sponsors, and dreams of college scouts. Growing up in the Rust Belt shadow of Cleveland, I'd always been the quiet gay kid who organized bake sales and pep rallies to fit in, hiding my sketches of boys who looked like they stepped out of indie rock posters behind clipboards. This year, though, the meet felt personal. I'd poured my soul into it, coordinating the 4x100 relay, syncing the fireworks for the closing ceremony, even begging the PDA for vegan options because inclusivity wasn't just a buzzword to me, it was survival. Carson Hale was the reason it all mattered. We met 2 years ago at a volunteer fair. Him all golden boy quarterback with that easy Midwestern grin and forearms like he could bench press the weight of his daddy's expectations. He was straight edge, or so he said, until one kegger under the harvest moon where he admitted, voice cracking like autumn leaves, that he'd been fighting the same demons I had, the fear of what loving a guy would do to his all-American facade. Our first kiss tasted like cheap beer and freedom, hidden in the cab of his beat-up Ford F-150. From there, it was late-night drives down Route 23, hands intertwined over the gearshift, talking about escaping to Chicago or LA where we could be us without the side eyes from church ladies and coaches who preached team unity, but meant something narrower. Justin Morales was Carson's shadow, the wiry track star with a chip on his shoulder bigger than the state trophy case. Mexican-American like half the East Side. He ran like the devil was nipping at his heels. Fast, furious, fueled by a scholarship dream that kept his single mom from eviction. Carson brought him into our circle last fall, vouching for him during tryouts. "Kid's got heart, Alex. We need that." I liked Justin immediately. He had this raw honesty, quoting Tupac lyrics between wind sprints and slipping me mixtapes of queer indie artists when Carson wasn't looking. The three of us became inseparable. Planning routes for the meet, joking about dethroning the rival schools from Dayton, dreaming of a finish line where none of us had to hide. But cracks showed early. Whispers in the locker room about boosts for the big race. Steroids smuggled in protein shakes. Bets placed in dark web forums by alumni with too much money and grudges. I dismissed it as paranoia, the kind that festers in small-town sports where losing means your life script gets rewritten in red ink. Carson laughed it off too, pulling me close after practices, his breath warm against my neck. "It's just noise, babe. We've got each other." Justin, though? He got quieter, his eyes darting like he was mapping escape routes. The meet weekend hit like a heat wave in October, crisp air laced with hot dog grease and the metallic tang of adrenaline. I was everywhere, herding volunteers in neon vests, troubleshooting the timing system's glitch that nearly derailed the hurdles. Carson captained the football demo, all broad shoulders and booming encouragement, while Justin warmed up for the anchor leg of the relay, his spikes digging furrows in the turf like accusations. That Friday night, post-setup barbecue, we stole away to the equipment shed. Carson's hands were calloused from tossing spirals, tracing patterns on my back that made me forget the world. "After this," he murmured, forehead to mine, "we tell everyone, no more secrets." I believed him, because in those moments, his blue eyes held the horizon we both chased. A life where love wasn't a liability. Saturday dawned golden, the stadium packed with cheering families, corporate banners flapping like flags of false promise. The relay was the marquee event, our underdog team against the polished machines from Hilliard and Worthington. I stood at the finish line, stopwatch in hand, heart sinking to the crowd's roar. Carson was in the stands, his jersey still grass-stained from the morning scrimmage, flashing me that thumb up that said "We're golden." Justin took the baton clean, exploding forward in a blur of determination. For 3 legs, it was poetry, our guys handing off like clockwork, the gap closing on the leaders. Then the 4th leg. Justin hit his stride, pumping arms like pistons, the finish in sight. That's when it happened, the whistle, the collapse. He hit the track face first, legs buckling as if shot. The crowd gasped, a collective inhale that sucked the joy from the air. I vaulted the barrier, knees slamming into the wet rubber, reaching him as his eyes fluttered open, wild, accusing. "Carson?" he rasped again, clutching my sleeve. "Tell him, the pills." He said it'd be okay. Pills. The word detonated in my skull. Medics hauled Justin away on a stretcher, his mom sobbing in the front row, while officials scratched the race, awarding a technical win to Hilliard. Chaos reigned. Parents demanding refunds, scouts packing up early. I stumbled to the sidelines, where Carson waited, face ashen under the stadium lights. "What the hell was that?" I hissed, grabbing his arm. He pulled away, eyes flicking to the shadows where Justin's coach lingered, clipboard in hand like a shield. "It's nothing," he lied, voice pitching high. "Heat exhaustion. He's fine." But I wasn't. That night, with the meet in limbo and rain pattering the motel roof, I couldn't sleep. Carson tossed beside me, murmuring apologies in his sleep that sounded too much like confessions. By dawn, while he showered, I rifled his duffel. Old habit from a childhood of unstable homes. Tucked in a sock was a baggie of white capsules, unmarked, with a scribbled note. "One before race. No traces. J.C. Justin's initials? No, Coach Harlan's, the old fox who'd mentored Carson since Pee Wee Leagues. My stomach churned. Harlan, with his alumni connections and whispers of side hustles, to fund the booster club. I'd overheard him once, griping about budget cuts over beers. Gotta level the playing field somehow. Was this it? A conspiracy to juice the team, rig odds for underground bets? And Carson, my Carson, in on it? I confronted him in the empty gym that afternoon, the echo of my voice bouncing off championship banners like ghosts. "Tell me you didn't know," I begged, holding up the baggie. His face crumpled, that quarterback resolve shattering. "Alex, it's not what you think. Harlan approached me months ago. Said it was just vitamins, performance enhancers. Justin, he needed the scholarship bad. I thought it was safe. For the team. For us." "For us?" The betrayal sliced deeper than any sideline rumor. "You lied to me?" I whispered, tears hot on my cheeks. "We were building something real, and you dosed our friend like he's disposable?" He reached for me, but I recoiled, the gym's fluorescent hum mocking our fracture. Justin, meanwhile, was stable but sidelined. Docs found amphetamines in his system, enough to trigger cardiac strain. His mom's furious calls lit up my phone. What kind of monsters run this show? The climax crashed Sunday evening, as the rescheduled relay loomed under a bruised sky. Harlan cornered me in the press box, his breath sour with entitlement. "Rivera, kid, you stir this pot, and it boils over on everyone. Bets are placed, big ones. Walk away, and maybe your boy's future isn't flushed." He meant Carson, of course, the golden child he'd groomed for Division I glory. I saw it then. The web, spun from greed, ensnaring scholarships, reputations, lives. Harlan's conspiracy wasn't just pills. It was a syndicate of washed-up locals laundering losses through rigged youth sports, Carson their unwitting pawn until he became complicit. Rage propelled me to the field, mic in hand during the pre-race announcements. The crowd hushed as I stepped to the podium, rain starting to spit. This meet was supposed to be about heart. I broadcast, voice steady despite the tremor in my soul. About kids chasing dreams without shortcuts that break them. But we've got poison in the veins of our team. Doping, betting, betrayal. Gasps rippled. I named Harlan, the baggie, the notes. Carson burst from the tunnel, horror etching his features. But I held firm. And my partner, someone I loved, chose silence over truth. Sirens wailed soon after, feds swarming like they'd been tipped. I had, anonymously, hours before. Harlan was cuffed mid-denial, his empire crumbling in real time as bet logs surfaced on laptops seized from the booster tent. Justin, wheeled out for a precautionary scan, locked eyes with me from his gurney. gratitude mixed with grief. You saved me, Alex. Even if it costs everything. It did cost. Carson and I shattered that night in the parking lot. Rain sheeting down like judgment. I did it for you, he sobbed, on his knees in the mud. To give us a future, scouts, money, escape. I knelt too, cupping his face, thumbs tracing the jaw I'd memorized in moonlight. Love isn't built on lies, Carson. It's the truth that endures. We clung there, a storm of what-ifs and I love yous, until the weight pulled us apart. He transferred schools by winter, chasing redemption on a D2 roster in Indiana, our texts fading to echoes. The meet, it wrapped in quiet dignity. No winners, just lessons etched in the scars. Justin recovered, his story going viral as a cautionary tale, landing him a full ride to Ohio State on a diversity grant for whistleblowers. His mom hugged me at the follow-up assembly, whispering, "You're family now." Me? I stayed in Columbus, turning coordinator into advocate, founding a youth ethics program that spread to neighboring districts. No parades, just the slow bloom of purpose. Looking back, from my apartment overlooking the Scioto River, I don't regret the unraveling. Betrayal taught me that love's not a straight line. It's the detour through shadows where you find your spine. Carson and I, we crossed paths last spring at a conference. Awkward waves turning to coffee, then a tentative email chain. No fireworks, but a humanistic grace. Forgiveness as the real victory lap. In America, where conspiracies hide in plain sight behind flags and cheers, uncovering one doesn't end the fight. It reminds you why you run it all.